hammered, and Billy Martin and the Yankees want the bat. Look at Martin.
Well, what they're talking about, Frank, is that he's got too much fine tar, and you've got to have a certain amount of distance from the trademark of the bat and the fine tar.
And Nettles is leaving the field as if the game is over. He's just coming in.
I'm not sure. They might have a legitimate gripe. They might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, the Yankees win. He's out.
Yes,
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And
the team is mad.
He is out and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting plate umpire Tim McClellan.
And welcome back to another episode of Too Much Pod Tar, as I am again with Gio D'Amico on Twitter at GioD'Amico15 and Johnny Black, the Scorecard creator and editor. And he's on Twitter at JBall0202. And now in this episode, we're going to be doing our predictions for the playoffs. You know, who's going to win in divisions, the wild cards, and then, you know, who ends up going over all the way to the World Series and winning. So this is here are our picks.
All right, I'll start off then. For AL, I think the teams that are going to win the divisions are the teams that are leading right now: the Yankees, Astros, and Twins. And then the National League, I think the Nationals are going to go on a run. I think the Nationals are going to win end up winning the division and jumping the Braves. I think the Braves aren't going to have that great of a second half. I think they might choke a little bit, and I think the Nationals are just going to play. They're only 6 games back right now. I think they're going to end up catching them at some point and winning that. And then for the Central, it's really close right now with Milwaukee half game back of the Cubs. I think the Cubs will end up winning that. They've been struggling of late, but I think they'll catch fire again in the second half. And then obviously Dodgers will win the West. It's not even close in that.
Yeah.
And then the wild cards, I think it'll end up being Tampa Bay and Boston. There's not really any other teams in there for the second wild card. Cleveland, as we mentioned before, but I just don't think that they're going to end up being able to maintain what they've been doing, especially with all these, all the injuries they've had to their pitching and all that. So, and then Oakland is a team right now that's a game back, but I don't think they're going to be able to repeat what they did last year. And Texas is one of the other teams that's kind of in there, but I don't think they'll be able to maintain what they've been doing starting pitching. Mike Minor, I don't think he'll have Mike Minor and Lance Lynn. I don't think they're going to end up having second halves like they've had first halves. And yeah, so those for the divisions. And then I can go into like who I think is going to win each round, but then you guys can go first with the other things.
Who'd you have in the NL wild card?
And I didn't even say that.
Oh, I thought I missed it. My bad.
Yeah, wild card. I would probably go with the Braves for that, for the first wild card, and then Milwaukee for the second.
Okay. Gio, you want to go?
Sure. For the AL, I've got the Orioles, Tigers, and Mariners. Yeah,
Nice pick.
Yeah, that would be crazy. No, maybe in 10 years, but we're going to go same thing. Yankees, Twins, Astros. It's really not close. I mean, I don't think there's any threats to overtake any of those 3 divisions. And then for the wild card, I'm going to talk a little crazy here. I'm going Red Sox and Indians. I think the Rays are experiencing a bit of a fall off right now, and I think that's only going to continue because they just don't have good hitting. They're riding their pitchers right now like crazy, and I don't know if they can keep doing that, and keep winning, because they're totally defense and pitching right now, which is fine. That's how a lot of teams win, but the bats in the lineup are inconsistent. They've got a few good hitters like Austin Meadows, but it's really nothing to write home about there. So I'm going to go give the Indians the edge, say they go on a little bit of a run. Maybe Jose Ramirez learns how to hit again. And for the NL, I'm gonna go Nationals as well. I'm gonna go Nationals. I'm gonna go Brewers and Dodgers, and the NL Central is my favorite race right now to watch because literally anybody could win that. When it comes to wild card, I'm gonna give it to the Braves. And I'm gonna give it to the Reds. I think the Reds can really go on a run here. They've got it. Like everyone overlooks the Reds because why wouldn't they? But they've got a good rotation going. They've with at least 3 good pieces, and they've got a few guys in the bullpen. And they can hit. The Reds have been able to hit for a few years now, pretty much all across the lineup. So that's kind of my dark horse pick. I mean, I could be boring and go with the Cubs, but something about the Cubs this year, man, they're super inconsistent, super streaky, and they can go on a winning streak or a losing streak at any point. But I just don't like their pitching that much when it comes to consistency because I think Cole Hamels is overperforming right now. I think that Yu Darvish is just gonna struggle more. It's gonna be a close race, but I'm just gonna give it to the Reds for the sake of being different.
All right, Johnny. Hello. I guess he left. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm
No.
here.
Oh.
My bad. My bad.
That's all right.
No, I'll go. Well, I'm going to go chalk in the AL, but like what you guys said, Yankees, Twins, and Astros, because I don't see any teams catching them at this point. The AL, the wild cards. I'm gonna have to go Rays and Indians. I think the Red Sox are going to miss out. I really do. I think they spent way too much money. And I'm looking at it from what these teams might be doing at the trade deadline too. Yeah. Now, I know the Indians may be moving Bauer or whatever. I just don't see any other team. I don't know. I just don't see the Red Sox bringing on anybody. And their bullpen's just a disaster. Their hitting is not nearly as good as it was last year. I mean, they had a magical season last year, winning 108 games. That's not sustainable. The Indians, I just think they have depth of pitch. They've shown it already this year. They have depth of pitching. So even if they traded Bauer, if they got Kluber and Clevenger back, they still have Kluber, Clevenger. I mean, Bieber, Plesac. Like it's still solid.
Yeah,
and I think they can maintain enough to win a wild card. The Rays, I think Snell is going to be better than he has been. I mean, he's just been he has been somewhat snake bitten in that sense. Like, I mean, yes, I didn't think he was, but at a 5 ERA, I think he's gonna go on a tear, and I think he's gonna drop it to mid threes. Their defense is top notch, basically. They hit enough. And I just don't see any other team in the American League. I mean, the Rangers, like you said, Alex, like Lance Lynn and Mike Minor. Mike Minor is going to fall off the cliff. I can see it already. Like, he's definitely going to. I talked about left on base percentage before. Snell had an 88 last year. Well, Mike Minor this year is 86.5. Yep. And he strikes out like 7 guys per 9. Like it's just that's not sustainable.
I definitely wouldn't want to trade for him at the deadline because I know Texas could be asking for a lot.
I was telling my buddy actually in one of my fantasy leagues, I was like, you could trade Mike Minor for like a 4th rounder next year because we have keepers, so we could trade for next year's draft picks.
Yeah.
And he was looking at. He's like, "You think I should trade Mike Minor for like a 4th rounder?" I was like, "Hell yes."
Yeah.
Get rid of him now, dude. Definitely, because he is just not. Yeah, that's not sustainable.
No.
So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rays Indians. I think the Red Sox miss it out, and they just blow it up next year. Everyone leaves while they still have Sale, but I mean, the pitching. Porcello's gone. Yeah. Porcello's a free agent.
Not that I don't think they care about that.
No. Yeah, exactly. They'll be fine next year with going with the 3 lefties with Sale, Price, and Eduardo Rodriguez. Yeah. They'll be fine with that. But anyway. But the National League's a lot tougher.
Yeah.
For me. I'm going Nationals in the NL East because that's who I picked. So I'm going to stick with them. I still go with the Brewers because I feel like the Brewers are going to make a move or two at the trading deadline this year.
Yeah.
They saw how close they got last year. I mean, they went to a Game 7 in the NLCS with the Dodgers. I think they're going to make a move for a Bumgarner or someone like that, and they're going to get they're going to get that ace for the playoff run, which they didn't have last year. Jhoulys Chacin was their ace last year. I mean, so yeah, Brandon Woodruff showed up and stuff like that. But if you have that ace and these other guys are your 2 and 3, that's a different story. Yeah. So I think the Brewers are going to make a move at the deadline, and I think they're gonna take that division. The Dodgers, obviously. I mean, that's not even a question, I don't think.
Yeah.
As far as the wild card goes, I'm going to go Braves and Phillies. I'm going to go both from the NL East.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, Gio. The Cubs are going to – they're just – I don't think they're that good. I honestly don't. I think their pitching stinks. The bullpen stinks. Their starting stinks.
Craig Kimbrell stinks.
They're just not a good team. They're really not. They're playing over their heads, I think, a little bit. And Madden's got to get a little credit for that because they are first place. I mean, so for as bad as they've been, they have been. I just don't think down the stretch they're going to do it. I think Atlanta and Philly are both good teams, and I think Atlanta will maintain enough to get a wild card. I think Nationals will catch them, but. Mm-hmm. But I think they'll get in there. So I think those 2 teams are going to come up from the NL East.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think a key factor for the Nationals, one of their X factors for success is Steven Strasburg because having that number 2, Scherzer can't do it all. Obviously, he can't pitch five. He can't pitch every day, and that would be good if he could, but he can't. And Strasburg. He's been great his whole career. There's something about him that's just always screamed inconsistent to me, and I don't know, or at least not always, over the last couple of years. But when I look at his stats, he's been good. He's a spotty starter. One start, he'll strike out 12 and shut you down, and the next start, he'll be out after 4 innings, giving up 5 runs. So I think his consistency and his dominance is definitely going to be key to them. Him and Anibal Sanchez are the most important pitchers in that rotation right now.
Yeah, they need to keep their bullpen straight too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been their problem.
Yeah,
for the most part, because they've had the starters. I mean, they got Corbin there too. I mean, if you got these guys, if you have a healthy Strasburg and Corbin who's pitching well, using that slider and that cutter. I mean, Scherzer, Corbin, and Strasburg. You can't really name a better 3.
Right.
Going into the playoffs. I mean, who else in the National League is comparing to that top 3? All right, Kershaw, Ryu, and Rich Hill,
Buehler.
Walker Buehler. I mean,
close.
That's the competition. Because the clubs can't come close to that.
Right. They not one of their pitchers matches up with one of the Nationals pitchers.
No. It's not even close. So, I mean, the Nationals, that's what I'm saying. The Nationals get in the playoffs, especially if they win a division and have a home series.
I think the Nationals need a righty reliever, a solid righty reliever, because they've got Sean Doolittle as their closer, and, he can definitely pitch against lefties. But like I said about Scherzer, he can't pitch every day, and he's not going to pitch multiple innings pretty much ever. So you need someone that's going to be able to get righties out, because Wander Suero is not going to get the job done. So
yeah, I don't know. The problem with the Nationals is they don't have a lot to trade.
Yeah, exactly.
They've wasted their minor league system.
Right. With
the exception of Robles and Soto, they've basically wasted their minor league system to try to get other guys.
Yeah, that hasn't really worked out.
They traded they traded Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez and Dane Dunning for Adam Eaton.
Yeah, not.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Not a good. Yeah.
They gave up on Giolito way too early, but that's for another show, I guess. What you were saying before, no, Giolito short arming the ball. I have no problem with it because the big guys like that. I mean, Giolito's what, 6'7"?
6'8",
6'7". Like, he's huge.
Yeah.
Guys like that take a long time to develop their command and control. Look at Randy Johnson. You look at Randy Johnson's stats with Montreal, and when he first got to Seattle, dude, he was walking 120 guys a year.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like that tall, it's hard to repeat the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find a slot, and when you find something that works for you, and you can repeat it, that's key. And that's what it took Giolito a while, but I think he could definitely maintain it if he's found that arm slot, something that's comfortable for him. I think he could definitely continue.
Agreed.
But that was such a mistake from Washington.
Yeah.
Should we go into who's winning what?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with that. I'll start with the AL wild card. I had the Red Sox and Rays, and I'm gonna have the Rays winning that, and then moving on to play the Yankees. I think the Yankees are gonna end up being the number 1 seed, and then the other ALDS would be the Twins and Astros, and I think the Astros would take that one. Sorry, Johnny, but yeah, I don't think the Twins can match up with the Astros very well. So the Astros, I think they would win that in 3 or 4 games. I think they'd do a sweep would take it in 4, and then with the Rays and Yankees, I think the Yankees would take that one in 4.
Mm-hmm.
So Yankees, Astros, ALCS 2017 rematch, and then going over to the NL, the wild card I had. I had the Brewers and the Braves. I think the Brewers would take that one, and then Brewers would face the Dodgers. So I think the Dodgers would take take the series in. I think they'd sweep. I think the Dodgers would sweep the Brewers, and then let's see who else did I have. I had the Nationals, and then who the heck did I have? Oh.
Cubs.
Oh yeah, Nationals and Cubs. So I think the Nationals will win that in probably 4 games. I think 4 or 5 games. So then it would be Nationals, Dodgers, ALCS, and I think the Dodgers will end up going back to the World Series, and then go into the ALCS. I think the Yankees come up with revenge from 2017, winning 7 games, and for the NLCS, I think the Dodgers. I think that would be 6. I think that would be 5 or 6 games between the Nationals, and so Yankees Dodgers World Series rematch from the 1980s. So I'll make my pick after you guys do yours.
All right.
Yeah.
For the AL, I had wild cards. I had the Red Sox and the Indians. I think that if it was between those two, I think the Red Sox would probably win that game just because Chris Sale would probably be pitching. And depending on who's healthy for the Indians, I don't know. But I'm going to give it to the Red Sox. And then the Red Sox would play the Yankees because I think the Yankees will be the number 1 seed too. And I'd say it'd be Yankees in 5 for that one. I think that would go the distance just because that's always a good series. That would be a tough matchup for the Yankees, even if the Red Sox struggle during the season, continue to struggle.
Yeah.
It would be hard for them, going up against a rival. You don't look at that as an easy series.
Mm.
And then the other way around would be Twins and Astros. I'd say Astros in 4. Sorry, Johnny. I think the Twins they're playing really well right now, but the Astros are the team I'm scared of most in the AL. Like overall, they've just got it all going. So I think the Twins could probably find a win somewhere in there, but the Astros, their pitching's just too good all around.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be Yankees and wait a minute, I confused myself. Yankees and Astros, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like my nightmare series. I don't want to have to face the Astros, like I just said, as the Yankees. As a Yankee fan, this is tough for me to say, but I would have to say Astros in 7 just because of the pure pitching that the Astros have. And I don't think the Yankees pitchers are as consistent as the Astros just because they're not. I mean, if Garrett Cole gets it going, especially, I would hate to be facing that team. So, with a total non-bias, I'd say Astros in 7. And going to the NL, I had what was my wild card? I had the Reds and the Braves. The Braves would win that game probably. So it'd be Braves against the Dodgers, and that's a rematch from last year. I think the Dodgers would pull that out in 4. The Braves could find a win in there. And then the other way around would be Nationals and Brewers. Tough one. It's kind of pitching against hitting a little bit there. I'd give that to the Nationals in 5. So that would make it Nationals and Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers win that. Wait, is that a 7-game series now?
Yeah.
So Dodgers in 6 over the Nationals. I don't know. The Dodgers are the better team. So Dodgers and Astros, I would give it to the Astros in 7. I think the Astros are the most well-rounded team in baseball right now.
All right. I got the Rays and Indians playing for the wild card, and I have the Rays winning. I have the Rays beating the Indians. I just think they find a way. They find a way with Snell against Kluber. Like, they find a way to beat it and make the defensive plays and stuff. I think the Rays can win a 1-game series against them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Rays. I'll have the Rays versus the Yankees because I think the Yankees are going to finish with the best record. I have the Yankees winning that in a sweep. I don't see it even close, especially after the wild card, after they use Snell.
Yeah.
So that's, then you get to the rest of the Rays rotation. I think they find a way to beat Morton, and then after that, that's it. As far as the Twins and Astros, I think the Twins take the Astros down in a surprise. Yes, I'm a Twins fan, so all right. But the Twins actually play well, believe it or not. Past couple of years, the Twins actually play pretty well against the Astros. So I think the Twins. I think as long as they're starting pitching, because the depth of their bullpen is better than the Astros. As long as their starting pitching can hold it down for the first 5 or 6 innings, I think the Twins' bullpen is better than the Astros' bullpen.
Really?
And I think the Twins' hitting can explode more so than the Houston lineup. Houston's lineup is better overall as far as hitters go, but the Twins have the power. And I really think that in a short series, a 5-game series, I really think that a couple really good starts and depth of bullpen and power, I think can take down the Astros. So I'm going to say the Twins in 5 because I honestly think the Twins are going to have home field. I think they're going to have the second wild card. I mean the second seed. So I'm going to say the Twins in 5 over the Astros. Because we played well against them before, and I think we match up well against them. So I'm going to take that. And then I'm going to say the Twins lose to the Yankees like they always do. I'd say it's going to take 6, but I say the Twins lose to the Yankees in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we always do. I mean, I would love to break that curse as far as that goes, but I just don't see that quite happening. With this Twins team this year, I just don't. I think we're going to have the surprise of beating the Astros, but I think it's going to come down to, we're going to lose to the Yankees. As far as the National League goes, let's see. Okay, the Nationals, Dodgers. So Dodgers will be the 1 seed. Nationals, I think the Brewers will be the 2 seed. Nationals will be the 3. And I had the Atlanta and Philly. I think Philly takes down Atlanta in the wild card. I think Nola pitches his ass off in the wild card game, and I think they beat Atlanta. So Philly will go play the Dodgers in the DS. They'll lose in 4. They'll pull out a game just because Bryce Harper will go off like 1 game or something like that. But I think the Dodgers are just a better team.
Yeah.
So, and then I have the Brewers playing the Nationals. I think the Nationals beat them in 5. I think it's going to be a close matchup, but I just think the pitching for the Nationals is just too good, and they have a good lineup. I mean, Rendon is arguably, aside from Bellinger and Yelich, he's probably number 3 in the MVP voting in the National League. Rendon is just ridiculous, but I can see. I'll take the Nationals over the Brewers, and then the Nationals. I think they beat the Dodgers in 7. I think the Nationals over the Dodgers in 7 in the NLCS, and then they get the Nationals and Yankees, and I think the Nationals win it in the World Series in 6.
That would be a crazy run.
Yeah. All right, so I didn't make my pick yet for the Yankees and Dodgers World Series, and I know I'm a Yankees fan. I'm saying this, but I just feel like it's their year this year. They've been through all these injuries, and they've been able to, go through all this adversity, and best record in baseball right now. And it just seems like everything is in their favor right now. I think that they're gonna be able to make a run in the playoffs, and 10 years after the last World Series, I think they'll be able to make it happen. I think they make a move at the deadline for a starter. And I think that helps them, make the last push to win the World Series.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I think Clint Frazier probably gets moved at the deadline. I mean, if they don't have him up right now, they have Mike Tauchman up over him. And my dad was talking about that. He's like, there's got to be the only way that they don't have Clint Frazier up right now is because he's getting traded.
Yeah,
I
think it's happening after the All-Star break. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen soon.
I don't want him to get traded, though. I like Clint Frazier as a player, but I mean, if we get the package I keep hearing is everyone wants Max Scherzer. The Nationals are not trading Max Scherzer.
That's what I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gio, but we saw these tweets like a month and a half ago when the Nationals were below 500.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're trading shit. Where does anyone get this stuff from? They are not trading Max Scherzer.
There's not been any buzz from that actually from the Nationals. That's all speculation. There's no way they trade.
This is why Twitter is what it is. Ridiculous.
Everyone's got to be a Twitter GM. Yeah, there's no way they trade anyone in the rotation. They're in the middle of a playoff run right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to trade Clint Frazier for Mad Bum. I really don't. I would not like that trade unless we got something else back too, which we wouldn't. So, the only feasible way, one pitcher that I wouldn't mind is Luis Castillo because I think the Yankees need another good righty. So
that's not happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Reds aren't trading him. You just put him in the NL Cy Young Award.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not happening.
Exactly. That's like such wishful thinking. I'd rather hang on to Frazier, but at this point, it seems inevitable that he's gone.
Yeah.
I think Frazier is going to be one of those guys that is a package with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't even see, to be honest with you, I don't even see San Francisco wanting Frazier because he's so bad in the field.
Yeah,
that's true. You're not going to trade him to a National League team. I could see. I mean, I don't see Frazier. I don't know. I don't even know where Frazier would go.
I think
the Indians won't want him back.
Right.
The Twins don't need him. Our outfield's set.
I mean, I'd take.
Astros don't need him. Like, I don't know where he would even go.
I think the only way that it would happen is if it's in a package with Florio.
Florio's.
I don't want to give up.
I don't want to get rid of him either. Then
that's the thing. Personally, to tell you the truth, I think you should trade Florio right now.
Yeah. Because
I watched a lot of video on Florio, and I don't think he's going to be a good major league player. But he's 20 years old, and I watched video on him. I mean, I'm not a professional scout either, but what I saw from his swing, unless he fixes it, he's not going to be that good. He's going to be a more powerful version of Billy Hamilton.
It would take something. I get what you're saying, but it would take something pretty big to make me want to trade Florial and Frazier in one package. I mean, I would need like a Trevor Bauer or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think that's the only way it would happen. Like if to trade both of them, it would have to be somebody like that. I think too.
If they did that for Mad Bum, that would be the worst trade in a long time for them.
Well, I think the Giants, being in the National League, they wanted because Florial is a left-handed batting Byron Buxton with not as much plate discipline, and we saw how we're seeing what Byron Buxton became.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And this is Florial. He's got holes in his swing. He's got the power speed combo. He just doesn't. Buxton had a great eye at the plate in the minor leagues, and he came to the major leagues and just couldn't hit. He's starting to come around a little bit now, but this is after how long? We're talking about Florial, who's a 20-year-old center fielder, great defender, speed up the ass, but his swing is bad. So you don't know where it's going to go from here. And I think the fact that Florial is the hyped prospect now and one of the top prospects in the Yankee system, this is the time to trade him. You locked up Hicks for 7 years. You have Sanchez. You have Stanton. You have Judge. If you want to move one of them to DH here and there, eventually in another couple of years, or whatever it may be, you can find that guy to play left field. Like, it's not that hard. It's not like you guys don't have money. You know what I mean? So I don't understand what this obsession with Florial is. Where's he going to play?
Yeah.
Even if he comes up in 2 years, where's he playing?
Like I said, I just don't want them to give him up for a Mad Bum type player. And I know you just said that, but I mean, like.
No, and I understand that. Not for rental. I get it.
Yeah.
I get
no
it.
rentals for Florial. I mean, and even the pitcher Mad Bum is now. He's a below average player at this point in his career, which isn't good because he's only 29, but most of his metrics are pretty below average, and it's kind of disappointing. So, if you traded just Frazier I don't even want Mad Bum on the Yankees. First of all, okay, we have enough lefties in our rotation, and
I'd trade for Kluber.
Yeah, Kluber would be fantastic. I would gladly give up Florial for Corey Kluber, but I don't think that's going to happen. So there's
I do for Bauer too.
I would do it for Bauer, yeah.
You know what the funny thing is with Kluber is 33, going on 34. Mad Bum is 29. Mad Bum's got like 800 more innings in the major leagues than Kluber does.
Kluber started later, I believe.
Yeah, Kluber didn't come up. Kluber was like DeGrom. Like, he didn't come up until he was like 26.
See, I didn't know Kluber was 33. That would make me probably not want to give up a big package for him just because I don't know how much longevity he has. But for Bauer, I would do it in a heartbeat. If I don't want them to get someone like Mike Minor or someone who's going to fall off. I said that the Marlins, not about the Yankees, but I said that the Marlins should probably trade Caleb Smith now because they've got enough young guys where he could be reaching his peak right now. I mean, he's never been good before this year, so.
Well, you just talked up the Marlins, and we all know how how Derek Jeter works with the Yankees as far as trading goes. So that might be a perfect trade partner. You get someone like a Caleb Smith or a Pablo Lopez or someone like that. Who's young and controllable, and you give them Florial, they get a bat, they get an outfielder.
Yeah,
that might be a perfect fit, actually.
Yeah, the thing is with Caleb Smith is like I said, I don't know how good he actually is. He could just be overperforming right now, having a decent year because he's never been good before. He played for the Yankees a couple years ago. Granted, he only pitched in like 7 games, but he was terrible. And last year he was mediocre, I think. Let me look up his stats. But I mean, giving up someone like Florial for someone who's not really proven would be a little disappointing for me. But I mean, I'd take Caleb Smith before I took Mad Bum. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Florial from Mad Bum. I can see you not wanting to do that.
Yeah.
If the Giants were willing to take Frazier and maybe a package of a couple other minor leaguers, because look, the Giants have to rebuild from the ground up. I mean, they have nothing. They have no farm system. They have no major league player. I mean, Brandon Crawford is 33 years old. Like, how long is he going to play? Like,
He's not
Brandon
even a
Belt,
good hitter. Yeah.
Buster Posey. I mean, he's a first baseman at this point. Joey Bart's coming up probably at the end of the year, taking over. They're going to look to trade Brandon Belt. That's a guy you should get.
Yeah. I mean,
Although you have Voider first, so it's not,
I mean,
but-
I just don't like this markup for starting pitchers at this trade deadline because I feel like there's a lot of high risk, high reward, which isn't a bad thing. But like trading for someone like Mike Minor, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't give up Frazier for Mike Minor. I really wouldn't because, I mean, he's gonna fall off eventually. Like you said about his left on base percentage.
Yeah.
He's getting lucky.
The only good thing about Minor is I believe he's signed next year too.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
I believe
be
it's a
much of
2-year
rental,
deal.
but it's just I don't know. For someone like Frazier who's been hitting so well this year, I feel like he should have more value than people are giving him credit for. But
I just don't know. That's the thing I'm saying is I don't know what the market for Frazier is going to be.
right,
Because you're not. You gotta trade him to a team that's willing to give up a starter.
yeah,
And you gotta trade him to a team who's looking to rebuild and use Frazier as a piece to like rebuild their outfield. Now Cleveland probably would be perfect for that, but they the ones that traded him to you in the first
right.
place. So
Yeah.
I don't know how willing they would be. Like I said, the Twins don't need him. The Astros don't need him.
Yeah,
The Rangers could use him, but do you take Lance Lynn again?
No, Lord, no.
Like
no.
all Mike Minor. Like what do you like? I don't know. Like who else would you deal Frazier to?
I mean,
Oakland, but what they have no
one,
starting pitching to give up.
yeah, they could give
What are
up
you getting,
Jesus
Frankie Montas?
Luzardo.
who's out for the year? Like
They're not going to give up Jesus Luzardo either. So
no, they're not giving up those guys. Even the guys who were hurt, they're not giving up Sean Manaea.
Mm-hmm.
They're not giving up Cotton.
I'll take Casey Mize from the Tigers.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening. That dude's going to be up like at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Casey Mize a beast.
I know.
The dude's like they got a scary rotation coming up. Detroit, man, they really do. Casey Mize is a monster, and Matt Boyd has been lights out this year, man.
Yeah, they've got a few. They got quite a few guys. Their problem's gonna be hitting too. I mean, I was telling my dad the other day, if you want to torture me with a baseball game, make me watch a Tigers and San Francisco Giants game. Those have got to be the two most boring teams in baseball right now.
Oh God, yeah.
I'd rather.
I just like watching Miggy though. I still like watching Miggy.
Yeah, Miggy's like the only good thing about that game because the Giants are like the retirement home of the MLB, and they keep trading for these older guys for whatever reason. And then like the deal for Longoria and then McCutcheon was a trade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the deals that they're doing are just brutal. Like it's like they're still in win now mode, but they don't have anything good like to allow them to win now. So
I don't know why they tried to do that last year. They should have realized last year that this is it. They should have never traded for Longoria and McCutcheon.
no.
They should have held on to what they had and traded Mad Bum last year.
Yeah.
With a year of control, they would have gotten a nice chip. Even though Mad Bum's been hurt the past year, they were fluke injuries. He had the ATV injury that he hurt his shoulder. But he came back strong and he was fine. And then he had the ground ball last year that broke his hand. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, it's not like he's injury prone. And like you said, he's only 29.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's got a lot of mileage on that arm.
Yeah.
He could turn into Felix Hernandez.
That's true.
Look at Felix Hernandez. He's 32.
I always thought he was older. I thought he was like 36.
No, 32, maybe 33 this year. But Felix Hernandez fell off when he was like 2 years ago. He fell off 3 years ago.
They're still trying to use him as a workhorse. It's just not going to work.
Some guys can do it. Some guys can't. I mean, look at Zach Greinke.
Yeah, exactly.
Zach Greinke is like...
He's got an ephus pitch, too. That's just nasty.
Some guys just I don't know. You
What do you
can't
guys
even
think?
explain it, man.
I know.
Some guys are just like that, and he's like Greinke. Like he's just reinvented himself. Like you look at CC. Look at you
Yeah.
guys. Like you look at CC. He's reinvented himself. Yeah, he's
In the
not the
game
dominant
today, but
starter he used to be.
right.
Back in the day. But I mean, he's a damn good third or fourth.
What do you guys think about a Clint Frazier for Marcus Stroman trade?
I don't know.
I think Toronto will want another piece.
I wouldn't trade with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's the problem because I think the Blue Jays are going to be a threat to the division in a few years with all the talent they have, and then
They have no pitching.
true,
Yeah.
but I mean they've got hitters like Lourdes Gurriel Jr. right now is going crazy. I don't know why he was down to begin the season to begin with because he was good last year, so
Yeah.
he's been going
Kevin
nuts.
Biggio.
Biggio,
Yeah.
once Vlad starts hitting, they've got obviously Bo Bichette. They
got all the kids, all the juniors, man.
Yeah.
I think they have one of Roger Clemens' kids too.
Yeah, Cody Clemens, first baseman.
Yeah.
They could have a whole infield. They're gonna have a whole infield.
And then they got
Of
Danny Jansen at catcher. I mean, he's not a son, but he's a nice young player. But
Jansen
like you said, no pitching.
No pitching at all.
So that's.
But they could use. They also could use an outfielder. I mean, they have Grichuk, who's been. He is what he is.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they traded Pilar. Like who wrote? I like Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah, he's nice. They just
I
have
like
to
him
find
a
a
lot.
spot for him to play. I mean, like he should play first, but Justin Smoke's kind of still there, so. I would. I would imagine that the Blue Jays would ask for Albert Abreu in a trade for Clint Frazier, probably Frazier and Abreu for Stroman, which would be overpaying in my book. So
they're gonna want a pitcher.
Yeah,
they're not. It's not gonna be straight up Frazier for Stroman.
Right,
They're gonna want a pitcher.
Someone.
Even with Weisiger, I would do that if I were the Yankees.
I would do Frazier and Loaiza. The thing is, I don't like trading in the division because that could come back and bite you.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the Yankees did with the Orioles last year, or 2 years
That's the
ago.
Orioles, though.
Yeah, I mean it's the Orioles.
I'll trade Frazier for Tyler Glass now. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't think the Rays. I think that would be just a little bit off on the.
When's Glass not coming back?
Hopefully soon. I like watching him pitch.
Yeah, I think it's soon.
He's another dude. Like I was saying before, like the big guys. Was Glass now like 6'8"? He's huge.
Oh, yeah, he's really big.
And that's the thing with Pittsburgh. Like we was coming up with Pittsburgh, and they were like, "Well, you might be a closer because he's got 2 pitches, like all this stuff, like no commands, blah blah blah." Hey,
Pittsburgh
to the Rays, and look what happens. Like I tell you, man, that's the thing with these really tall guys, 6'7" and above.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give them extra time.
Yep.
Takes them longer. Glass now, same thing. The same thing as Giolito.
Yeah.
Like I said, the same thing. It just takes them longer to get the mechanics down.
Mm-hmm.
Stroman's a perfect fit for the Yankees too.
Yeah, they need a righty in the rotation. They already have CC. They have J. Happ, who I don't like this year, but it's whatever. And then they also have Paxton. So lefties on lefties on lefties. We don't really need another lefty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although the Dodgers do with all lefties. Well, they have Maeda, but
True.
Oh yeah. True.
But
yeah, that's true.
I think Stroman fits. Stroman's proven he can pitch in the AL East. Same thing with Happ. Like, he's at least shown that he can pitch in the division. And Stroman's a ground ball guy, which is good, which would be a good fit for you guys too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
With Torres and Gregorius up the middle, that helps.
Yeah.
Dodgers got Walker Buehler too, so they kind of are like the Yankees. I think they got 3 good lefties, 2 righties right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting about Buehler. Buehler's been like meh this year. He's been good, but like,
I think he's been better lately.
yeah, a little sophomore slump, but that's all right. You know, he's still good.
He's an all-star. He's 8-1, but he's 3.46 ERA, which was higher. He's been pitching a little better lately. He doesn't walk people though. 1.2 walks per 9.
Yeah, no, he's been solid, no doubt. It's just that, after last year, you look at these guys, and the same thing. When I remember Reese Hoskins.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago. He came up in like 50 games. He had 18 home runs, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy is good." And I was all over it too. I was like, "Yeah, this guy's going to be a beast," blah blah blah. And then last year was like, meh.
Yeah.
But he was playing out of position, sophomore slump, like all that stuff. And
this year he's been pretty solid. I kind of forget about him, to be honest. He's hitting 260 with 19 home runs. I mean, he's looking better than last year.
yeah,
More
this is a
strikeouts
solid
this year,
player.
though.
And this is only his second and a half year in the league, too. I mean, I always look at guys. I like to look at guys, especially going into fantasy baseball season, like in the beginning of the year. I like to look at guys who improved from one year to the other, but still only have about like maybe 1,200 plate appearances to 1,500 plate appearances, because that's generally where they like start to actually prove themselves.
Right.
So you look at someone who's like improved the past 2 years in limited time, maybe, but has a good 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 plate appearances. It's time for this guy to blow up.
Yeah.
Ketel Marte, perfect example.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had a really good year last year, and this year the dude's been a beast.
Oh yeah.
And then you look at other things too. Like I said on a podcast before the season started, I called out Carlos Santana, and I was like, "Look, his home was Cleveland. He went to Philly. He went to the National League from the American League last year. Yes, he struggled. Yeah, he still put up decent numbers, but his average was bad. Like, his walks and strikeouts are always solid, stuff like that. And I even said, I was like, watch him blow up this year because he went back to Cleveland. It's certain things you can't quantify. Things like that. You can't even, there aren't numbers for that. So sometimes you just got to watch the game. That's why I like the whole thing, the analytics and old school, man. It's both.
Yeah.
I can't side from one side or the other, because the analytics are great because it takes the eye test out of it, especially from what you remember to be great. It takes that out of it. But, the old school stuff there's still something to be said for watching people play the game.
Yeah.
And you know this, Gio, from like watching college football players and stuff like that.
Right.
Like there's certain things, the stats on the board, like this guy's a top-notch offensive lineman, this guy's a top-notch running back. But when you watch his video, you watch the competition he played and tackling and stuff. Like you watch, I don't know because I don't do that, but with football. But you watch certain things, and you see certain things. You're like, well, this guy doesn't have the, have that or this or whatever it may be, right?
Right. Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to. That's why I love watching. I love watching pitching, especially. Like Jason Panini, who does. He's on Pitcher List on Twitter. He puts up videos like of pitchers and stuff like that, and I always comment on stuff like what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Because I love watching these pitches, because I could have, watching like someone like Strasburg, who has that inverted W. That like what he does with his arms, like before he releases the ball.
Yeah.
Causes injury. It's an extra strain on your arm.
Right.
Now it improves performance, but this is again why Strasburg is hit and miss.
Yep.
So stuff like that. You can't tell that from a stat sheet.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Alex?
that's definitely true. And I guess we can continue talking about this on another episode. We've been going out at this for a while, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So, as it gets closer to like the trade deadline, we can definitely talk more about who we think is going to be traded. What teams are going to be sellers, who's going to be buyers. But yeah, for now, let's enjoy this All-Star break coming up, and it's going to be fun to watch the home run derby with, as we talked about before, Pete Alonso being in there, Josh Bell, obviously Bellinger, Yelich, and then who else is in there?
Vlad.
Oh yeah, Vladdy,
Yeah.
Bregman.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
Who's the last guy? Jeez.
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Me neither. All I know is Josh Bell's winning, so.
Yeah, I got Alonso winning. I got Alonso beating Vlad in the final. Well, let's see the two rookies.
That'd be cool. Alex, who's winning?
Oh, I got Bell winning too, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, I think
You guys disagree with me all night.
I think it's an advantage to hit lefty at Progressive Field because of the high wall.
Yeah. True.
Man, I don't know.
But then with the All-Star game Tuesday, I don't know. It's probably. I feel like I think it might be Verlander that starts. I don't know, but for the AL and then the NL, I think it'll be. I think it'll end up being Scherzer that starts.
Scherzer's out. He's
Oh,
not.
shit, yeah, he's out. Sonny Gray replaced him, and so I think that'll probably be Ryu. Should be.
Yeah. Scherzer just pitched today, right? Or yesterday?
Yep, today.
Oh yeah.
He just came back. He just had a kid too. He was on paternity. Yeah. So I think he's going to take the All-Star break. Feel like relax.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be this week. Monday, home run derby. Tuesday, the All-Star game. And then Wednesday and Thursday, just the 2 extra days of the All-Star break. And then get going into the second half after that.
Mm-hmm.
When's the Futures game? Is that Wednesday?
I think that's tomorrow. Isn't that before?
I think it's tomorrow.
Is it before the home run derby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's at like 7 o'clock tomorrow or something like that.
Tomorrow? On Sunday?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember when it was. Like, I couldn't remember when they did it.
I usually don't end up watching that much of it. I watch like some of it, but then I forget about it almost.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's not as I guess it's not as exciting as the other stuff. But,
I wanted to bring back the skills competition.
That would be nice.
Oh yeah.
I'm throwing from center field to home, right field to home, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. NHL, every other major sport does it.
Yeah, I mean they all have skill competitions.
Yeah.
I mean I love what hockey does.
Hockey's the best.
Hockey's great. Hardest shot, most accurate, and then they have the speed competition around the rink, and they do it well.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love to see baseball do something like that.
Me too.
Fastest pitch.
Yeah.
From the outfield to home. Can you hit home plate? I don't know how you would do it, but throw it into a garbage can, home plate or whatever. Yeah, how accurate you are. Speed from from home plate to first, stuff like that. I think that would be cool as hell.
For sure.
then I think they could do like another one for hitting like targets on the field or something like that, like what they did with like you have with like ML like they have with the Wii baseball.
Oh yeah.
They actually do that. I think it's Japan. They actually do that. It's Japan or Korea. They actually have like these things set up in the field, and someone pitches to you, and you hit, and you knock down like there's different points you get for like hitting certain markers.
Yeah,
like hitting certain bullseyes, basically.
Right.
That would be cool too.
That'd be awesome.
yeah. Let's make it happen. Come on, Rod Manfred. Jesus.
Yeah, do something instead of
useful.
Instead of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, let's cut down the visits to pitcher's mound once. What does this do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what this does for the game. Like, it just
speeds up the game by 2 minutes.
Oh. Well, we got the state of baseball stuff coming out. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robo-umps coming up. They're coming.
Jeez.
Yeah. Jesus.
I got to find it again. Actually, an umpiring website that rates every umpire, like as far as their correct calls and not.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so they actually have that out there. I'm definitely using that in my Robo-ump article.
Yeah. I wonder where Joe West is on that.
I can tell you, Tim McClellan is actually one of the best. I remember reading it. I remember looking at it like a year ago. Tim McClellan is one of the best. Joe West is down there. So is obviously Angel Hernandez.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking bad.
Oh.
But there's Tim McClellan. I'm trying to think of one of the other guys that was like up there. Like
I bet
one of the best.
Hunter Wendelstedt's pretty high up there. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. There was another guy. I want to say it was Tim Hallion, but I could be wrong. There was another guy that was like way up there. Tim McClellan was like actually he got like home plate. He got like 97% of the calls right. Which is pretty incredible, man. That's pretty amazing. Dude, trust me, I umpired for 13 years, and granted, I didn't umpire obviously Major League Baseball. But I umpired high school for a while. And we're talking like 16, 17-year-olds. Dude, it's not easy, bro.
Yeah.
That shit, like, I actually had an original mask, like a flat mask with the padding, you know. And then I went to like a hockey style mask. You know, the hockey style, you know, with it's kind of aerodynamic. I went to one of those masks. And I was doing a 16-year-old AAU game. I got a foul ball off the mask. All right. It cracked the cage of my mask. Jeez. I was like, I'm never using this shit again. Like, it cracked the cage. I had someone, a buddy of mine, this guy Bill, who was doing Little League games. We're talking 12-year-olds, right? He had a foul ball off the wrist, broke his wrist.
Jeez.
This is no joke, man. It's like, this shit's like, you know, I got a lot of respect for what these guys do. Angel Hernandez is out of control. I get that. But I have a lot of respect for what these guys do. Granted, like I said, I've never been at that level. But just going by, like, what I've seen and what I've done, like, it's tough, man. It's not easy. It's not easy. When you're sitting back there calling balls and strikes, man, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Because you're talking about, like, even at my level, high school kids, I got kids throwing 90 miles an hour. You know, and you blink and you miss it. Like, it's that, you know, and the top-notch kids are throwing curveballs. They're throwing, you got to look where it crosses the plate, and you have to make a split-second decision. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And I find myself, it's funny because I umpired for so long. I find myself watching games, like being like, "Oh, that was a ball. Oh, that was a strike." I find myself putting myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
But I get where it goes. We have the technology for it. The technology will be there, will be perfected within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It will be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with StatCast and the strikes, the zones they have on TV and stuff like that, they're not 100% accurate, believe it or not, but they will be eventually. What they have to do is, the problem with it is they have to put a chip in the uniform, because the height of the strike zone is the problem. It's not the width of the strike zone, because the width of the plate is 17 inches. That doesn't change.
Right.
It's the height and depth of the strike zone from the knee to halfway between the chest and the belt, which is the rule now. That's the problem. I mean, how do you judge that? So that's the issue. That's a large part of the issue they're dealing with now. But if they can put the chip in the uniform, whereas there is a sensor there, they can see where the top of the strike zone is and the bottom of the strike zone. So if they can do that, then there won't be an issue anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to this episode. I guess we're gonna, close it out here. It kind of went off a bunch of tangents, but that's what we do on this podcast. But yeah, join us for next time.